And it makes me think of, has there been someone with enough time on their hands to do the equations to accurately describe Ptolemaic epicycles to show by analogy how string theory might be wrong? But all that aside, if you think string theory is the way to go, how would you describe its necessary elegance, if you believe in that kind of thing?
No.
Thank you.
Is that really a yes-no question?
Yeah.
Changes up in here.
The Ptolemaic epicycles is the yes-no part.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can leave it like that. If you're happy, I could elaborate if you'd like. But you're happy, so I'll move on.
So I understand that you probably need some dimensions curled up so that you can have some same things happen with the strings, but what's to say that some of the dimensions might be bigger?
Right, could the dimensions be bigger? And it's a great question. Well, I'll answer. I gotta go back to your question. So you're right. Elegance does play a kind of role sometimes in science. When you're searching in the dark, you don't have experiments to guide you. You do use a mathematical sense of whether this feels like the right direction to go. Is it too complicated? Does it feel like epicycles and so on? And it's certainly the case when you study the mathematics of string theory, sufficiently intently. A lot of the ideas that may seem so foreign, you may feel like these guys are just glomming on idea after idea, with dimensions and branes. I mean, it may feel like epicycles, but these ideas emerge from a very direct trek through the mathematics. The math tells you this stuff. None of this stuff was overlaid by a bunch of guys in the room and said, crap, what do we do now? That has never happened. It is analyzing the mathematics, and the mathematics is very, very tight and coherent. I mean, an analogy which needs to be taken in the right way. And where is the Crimson Reporter? Get it right, okay? There's an interesting analogy with natural selection in the following sense. Natural selection is a very simple idea, right? You can explain it very simply, and it's got great intuitive appeal. But nevertheless, when natural selection operates, it can yield very rich, robust, complex structures. The starting point of string theory, again, is very simple and tight. And when you analyze the mathematics, it can take you into places that are very unfamiliar, but it's kind of following a roughly similar idea. You start simple and you let the math take you. You start with a simple idea and you follow it to a plausible conclusion. So that's the sense in which it doesn't feel like epicycles to me. Now back to your question. If only I could remember. Yes, okay. Could be big extra dimensions. Yes. And the answer is yes, but it needs to be qualified. So sometimes when people talk about big extra dimensions, they think, well, you can't see things that are very small, but if something is sort of so big, maybe you sort of miss it by virtue of its omnipresence in some sense. And that isn't the way in which extra big dimensions can work.
We were embedded in a higher dimensional space.
Yeah, so even in these pictures right here, the extra dimensions can be much bigger than you once thought because the photons are trapped in our dimension. So when you try to look, you don't argue that you don't see the extra dimensions because they're so small. You argue that you don't see them because light can't leave our brain. Now, gravity can, which does give some limits on how big the extra dimensions can be. But then another, physicist here, Lisa Randall, came up with ways in which these extra dimensions could actually be even bigger than you once thought by, in some sense, trapping gravity, using ideas that go back to Andy Strom and during warp compaction. It all happens here. I mean, so yes, the answer is yes. And in some sense, depending on how you define the size of a dimension, there are models in which the extra dimensions could be infinitely big.
How do you know that the strings end up, here's a way of knowing that the strings are the ultimate final thing, permanent thing that you found in that?
No, I mean, and of course there's two answers. Number one, who knows if this is even right? We've already covered it. But, if this is right, how do you know it's not a stepping stone to a deeper explanation? There could be entities that make up the string themselves. And people have studied that. There are models of strings where you have things called D0 branes, which are sort of like particles arranged in kind of a necklace that builds out strings in that way. So yes, it could well be that at some point, even if these ideas are correct, we'll find that there's a yet deeper explanation where these strings are no longer viewed as sort of primary in any sense. They're just sort of like molecules, and there's a deeper structure to be found.
You're going to hope we can't go final.
Well, but let me just dissuade you from one thought of thinking that it's, obvious with Newton, it's obvious with Maxwell, it's obvious with Einstein, things are left out. When you look at string theory, it's the first time where there's a chance that it isn't leaving things out. There's a chance that it's not, you don't look at string and say, oh, of course it's not the full theory because it's not talking about X, Y, and Z. There's no X, Y, and Z that obviously presents itself. So it could be that this is the end of the story, but the history of science would certainly dissuade us from pushing that line too hard because every time we thought it was the end of the line, it wasn't. But I say this has more of a chance than anything that we've ever encountered.
You have time for one more?